This is attempt number 4 at this video. The phone rang the first 3. I messed up the second time, forgot what I was saying, because I'm ignorant. So this is try number 4. If you don't see this video on try number 4, you're not going to see it at all. I'm going to talk about the Marlin Model 60 and the Ruger 1022. That's a subject that's been beat plumb into the ground. But I'm going to make one more video on it. But before I do that, the last video I made, I had a guy comment say he thought it sounded like a stupid redneck. And I suppose he was right. The part that kind of hurt, though, is this man went by the name of the Very Hairy. So I had a guy that goes by the name of the Very Hairy call me a redneck. But I've been called worse. I've been called a redneck. I've been called a dumb cracker. That don't offend me. But he was just joking around. And I appreciate him watching my video and leaving comments. And I thought I'd take a little stab at him there. But anyway, speaking of stupid redneck crackers, I went to Walmart the other night. I'm not a fan of Walmart. I think everything in there is some of the crappiest quality stuff you can buy, no matter what it is. I don't like it. I don't even like going in there. I don't like the stuff in there. I don't like the people in there. There's a whole website devoted to the people of Walmart. And it's about an accurate description of what you're going to see in there. But what I did get while I was in there was this right here. I bought this pack of 90 paper plates for about $2. They make good targets. Now, anytime you see these words right here on something, you know you're fixing to get something that ain't worth nothing. I don't speak a lot of languages. I speak a little bit of redneck. I speak a little cracker. I speak some English. But in some language, this right here means you're ignorant. Why are you buying this crap? I don't know what language that is. But anytime you see that, you know you ain't getting nothing. And if you see that on some food, oh, run. Run the other way. It's either run or get to runs. That's your only 2 options. And if you do decide to eat some of that great value food, don't try to eat it on this plate or you'll be wearing it. These things will barely hold up the weight of their self. But they do make good targets and they're cheap. You get 90 of them for $2. They're 9-inch circles. And that's what I use them for, is to shoot at. So if you're looking for some cheap targets, go to Walmart. Get you some paper plates. But whatever you do, don't try to eat off one of them. But these 2 guns that I was talking about, they've been around for 50, 60 years. Now, if I had to buy one of them today brand new, I wouldn't do it. Because they both are pretty much cheap. Cheaped up as much as they can get, and they ain't worth having no more. Ruger still makes 1022. They're turning them out by the hundreds of thousands, and you can tell that the quality has went downhill quite a bit. The trigger mechanism, the whole trigger group's plastic now. Trigger, the housing, everything's plastic. This one's all aluminum. The machining on the end of the barrel where the sight is, you can see it's kind of raised up there for about 3/4 of an inch. Now this is an older one. This one was made in 1993. The finish on that part right there is exactly the same as the rest of the barrel. On the new one, the machining's so rough, it almost looks like this part here is a different color. That's how, they just don't care no more. They're just pumping them out as fast as they can. That's all I can figure. And this one has a whole Gober molded stock on it. I still have the original wood stock, and it would have a barrel band. On this one, it's aluminum. On the newer ones, it's a piece of, I won't even call it plastic. I think it's nylon. It's useless. Now these Marlin pretty much went under in 2010. Anything with Marlin on it that's been made since 2010, 2011, it's not a Marlin. It's just a Remington. So I don't care nothing about having none of that. Marlins, there's two versions of this basically. The older ones that were made from 60 to the early 90s, and the ones from the early 90s to now, or up to 2010, I'm going to say. But this is the newer version. This one was made in the year 2000. Still a real Marlin, but it does have the bolt that stays back after the last shot, and I like that. The Ruger don't. The Ruger never has. Never will. So the Marlin does have that going for it. I like that. The ones made before, I think it was around 93, the bolt won't stay open on the last shot. Not a big deal. It does not hurt to dry fire either one of these. Whatever you hear people talking about dry firing, it don't hurt either one of these. Some rim fires, it will, but you can dry fire the Ruger 1022 all day long, won't hurt a thing. So don't pay no attention to what some nut tells you, especially a redneck cracker. But I took these out. I guess the first question anybody's going to ask is which one's more reliable, which one's more accurate. They're both reliable. 22 ammo ain't the most reliable ammo in the world anyway, but both these guns are very reliable. Accuracy, I'm going to show you some of these great value paper plates. This is from 40 yards. This is the Marlin 60. 40 yards, just standing up freehand with iron sights. I'm fairly happy with that group. Now, a lot of people will say this and this. They'll call them flyers, like the bullet did something wrong. No, them ain't flyers. Them are just bad shots. Now, the Ruger, same ammo, same distance, right there. I got a little better group, I would say, with the Marlin, and I do that consistently. The Marlin is consistently a better group than the Ruger. So I'm going to say the accuracy goes to the Ruger, but they're both well within minute of squirrel accuracy. And that's all you need out of a gun like this, especially with iron sights. You can put a scope on both of them, either one of them, and get them in there real tight. But this is 40 yards with iron sights. I'm happy with that. Same thing with the Marlin. I'm very happy with that. These two flyers, them wasn't bullets that just come out of there and went where they wanted. That was just me pulling the gun when I pulled the trigger. So I'm not going to call them flyers. I'm going to call them bad shots. But anyway, they're both accurate within a squirrel. They're both reliable. If I was going to buy either one of these guns today, I'd buy them at a pawn shop or off arms list. I would definitely buy these used. The old saying, they don't make them like they used to, well, that's a fact. Neither one of these that you buy now will be anywhere near what they were. And they're so cheap anyway, I don't know why they would feel the need to cheapen them up. I guess if they figure they can save 5 cents, that's what they're going to do. But they're not going to knock the price down. The price is going up and up every year. The quality's going down and down every year. So on these kind of guns, I definitely will take an older one over a newer one. I picked both of these up at the pawn shop. I've seen so many of these Marlin 60s in the pawn shop, it ain't even funny. And you can pick one up for $100 all day long around here. I gave a little more than that for this one. This one was stainless and it's in nice shape. But still, under 150 all day long. The 1022s, I don't see them as much in the pawn shop. And that's definitely not because there's not been thousands and thousands of them out there. It's probably because as soon as they hit the shelf, somebody buys them. That would be my guess. The 1022 is definitely more popular than the Model 60. But I do like the 22-inch barrel on the Model 60. The Ruger, this particular Ruger has an 18.5. I prefer the 22-inch barrel, plus this barrel's a little heavier on the Marlin. Now the main difference, they're both similar looking receivers. Bolt, a charging handle, they're pretty much the same. The trigger's even pretty close to being the same. The difference is in the magazine. The Ruger has the good old 10-round rotary mag. You can also get a 15, a 25, even a 50. The Marlin has the tube. Now, I don't mind the tube at all. This one here is advertised as holding 14 rounds. I put 15 in it consistently. A lot of people won't like the mag hanging out the bottom of their gun, so you're going to be, if you don't want anything hanging out of the bottom of the Ruger, you're going to have to use the 10 round. But you could put 3 or 4 of them 10 rounds in your pocket. Reload it a lot easier, and you could drop them down in this tube, especially in the woods. But the tube don't bother me. I like the bolt hold open and the heavier, longer barrel enough to make up for the dislikes of the tube. So, if you're going to buy one of these, in my opinion, I'd say get them both. And I would definitely say either one of them, I'd find an older one. But if you had to buy a brand new one, and that's the only way you could get it, I would definitely go with the Ruger, because at least Ruger didn't sell out to the Freedom's Firearm Group. Ruger's still their own company, and they still make their own guns. Marlin ceased to exist in 2010, if you ask me. So if you're going to get one of these, I'd get a used one. I'd find one in the pawn shop or on the arms list and go that route. You can pick one up for under 150. Ruger going to cost you probably closer to 200. But they're both quality guns. Like I said, if I wanted to go out and shoot a squirrel right now, I'd take this Marlin. As you can see, I'm more accurate with it. I get tighter groups with it. The longer barrel gives you a little more velocity, a little more accuracy. So go out and pick you up one. They're fun to shoot. They're fun to plink around just shooting at paper plates. They're fun to squirrel hunt with. They're good for teaching a kid how to shoot. So I think everybody should have a .22 rifle. Either a 10-22 or a Marlin Model 60, and there's plenty of others out there. But these are 2 of the ones that I have, and I thought I'd do yet another video comparing the 2. So, in my opinion, I think out of the box, the Model 60 Marlin is the way to go. As far as aftermarket accessories go, the Ruger, hands down. If you have a receiver for the Ruger, you can buy everything else and build you a gun. You can buy triggers, you can buy barrels, you can buy bolts. And if you buy a new Ruger 1022, you're going to need all those things. You're definitely going to need a trigger. You're going to need a bolt. If you don't believe me, watch my video on the 1022 takedown. You could probably live with the factory barrel if you can get past the machining. It looks like somebody done it with a wood lathe and a pocket knife. But that's just my rants on everything going cheap, but the price going up. Great value, redneck crackers in Walmart. It's all wrapped up in one bundle. One big greater value bundle. Thanks for watching.